Hey, and welcome back to the Marketer of the Day podcast. We're here with Kristaps Brencans, and he is the CEO of a full-service law firm digital marketing agency. They are called On the Map, and we're going to be talking about local SEO, tracking leads and SEO efforts, law keywords, finding and hiring top talent. Lots of exciting stuff. So, Chris, glad to be talking to you.
Robert, likewise. I'm really excited to be on your podcast. And what an intro. Wow. That was, you really described it.
Yeah, and my job is to make you look good, but also to be curious because, I'm obviously not a lawyer myself, but who knows who is tuning in and listening to this. And it's always fun to get kind of that outsider's perspective looking in. And so I know basically two things about internet marketing combined with lawyers. One is there was an internet marketer named Frank Kern a bunch of years ago, and he told some kind of story where he would periodically check like the county, like the jails nearby, like the websites, and see who was in jail for like DUIs. And then he would like send a courier every day and send these like packets and hook up these kind of offenders with DUI expert lawyers. And I thought like that's kind of a cool, like urgent and like a smooth process once you got that going. And the second thing I know about attorneys and internet marketing is like some are really dialed in. Like there's a couple of like kind of fun characters, like almost like Better Call Saul types who like do like the regular YouTube shorts and the TikToks, and they say things like, if a cop knocks on your door, do this. And either way, it's a lot of fun. So how do you fit in with those kind of extremes? Like what is your uniqueness and how do you make a difference here?
I was not expecting that segue into attorney marketing, but I totally love it because it does describe how extreme it can get. And the reason why it is so extreme is because it's highly competitive. Number one thing, you need to look at which practice area the respective law firm is practicing. So, there's probably like five big segments, I would say. Corporate law, their marketing is more business to business. So now they're spending more time on LinkedIn, sort of like regular business to business marketing. They're trying to bring on Uber as a client, like how are you going to approach it? Probably Uber executives are not searching, corporate attorney. They probably are looking at, okay, who has represented certain type of huge other companies before in, IPOs, mergers, etc. Then there's personal injury. And that's where the heavy hitters come in. That's where the billboards, radio ads, the YouTube, Instagram, TikTok shorts that you're talking about. There's a guy, Top Dog Law. He's doing some interesting things with like very out there billboards. And quick side note on the personal injury aspect. Personal injury keywords are some of the most expensive keywords that you can buy in AdWords. There's one point that mesothelioma keyword was worth, I think, one click was like $500. Average personal injury keywords like car accident lawyer, New York, those run up to $200-$300 per click. So the competition and the return on that investment can be really high because of the settlements and different type of scenarios that provide the revenue for the law firm and for their person they're representing. Now, then you also have criminal law. I would say that's the second most competitive, right after personal injury, because the criminal law cases also can be pretty high. People pay a lot of money to stay out of jail. Kind of the scenario you were talking about. In criminal law, interesting aspect to the strategy you described is direct mail. If there's an area where direct mail still works, that is criminal law marketing. Maybe you've gotten a ticket or some of your relatives, like police ticket when police pulls you over, you will get a direct mail flyer from some law company because that's public information, and it's pretty easy to target those people because they know already who got a ticket, and then they end up marketing. Then there's family law, and after family law, another interesting one is workers' comp. And then, of course, there's real estate, immigration. And so really, you have to think about law firms as like a business models, like which practice area they're focusing on. Usually the ones that are doing everything are not really big on marketing. They probably are in some smaller cities. So it's easier, if you're the only attorney or a few other attorneys in some area, obviously you can do different type of, law, like practice law, you can practice different type of laws. But in the bigger cities, you're going to find those niches, and then you have to figure out how do you separate yourself within that niche. If you're a personal injury lawyer in Miami, what separates you? And that's where we come in. So we help attorneys with search engine marketing. That means SEO, PPC. Very big aspect in law firm SEO is Google Maps rankings. We focus a lot on Google Map rankings because the local SEO space, there's not that many searches. You think about it, like how many people are going to get in car accidents? How many people are going to get arrested, or they're going to get DUIs? It's not like buying basketball shoes where there's millions of searches a month. These are relatively limited searches, and hence why Google's putting such a high price tag on those clicks, because one settlement can be worth several $1 million. So that's why the competition is high to get those clicks. And SEO ends up being a lot cheaper in some cases because you're building your own equity, and the amount of money you need to spend on SEO versus if you were to run PPC campaign, it differs quite a bit. And we can get into specific numbers if you want to as well. So I kind of gave you like an overview of how to think about attorney marketing, specifically, I guess, from all aspects. Maybe some initial trigger thoughts coming to your mind where I can double click on more.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the trigger thought, just to kind of take my mind back on the journey you took us. So you're saying there's these 5 categories, or these 5 buckets, and unless you're in a small town, if you're a law firm, you specialize it in one of the 5, and then it's like the overall strategy is to look at where people are looking, right? Look at where those future customers are at, whether it's on LinkedIn or if it's a paid search. And in each of these categories, there's the different pros and cons, different sort of rules of the game. But then, and I can also tell that you're you focus on the numbers and the percentages too, and you'd hope so, right? If you're a digital agency, and like when you look at, because it's a common mistake, right? If someone is just some kind of business, like just some kind of law firm, and they say, oh, we'll run paid ads, how hard could it be? And then guys like you and me are saying, well, hang on a second, there's this cost per click, and if it's $500 per click, and I mean, someone clicks, that doesn't mean they'll fill out a form, doesn't mean they're even going to talk to you. So then you have like the percentage of who's even going to be talking to you and who you can get to convert, how much money you make from them. And then it's like, okay, then you can kind of make a logical step based on all the percentages and all the different steps of the funnel there. And so I guess what all that leads to is, based on all of those different sort of categories, like which one is your favorite? And do you focus them all? Do you focus on one? What's the kind of out of all the paths, what's the door to open?
So our I'd say big 2 is personal injury and criminal. That's where we spend a lot of time. And just from business perspectives, they also have pretty big marketing budgets. Family law is, I would say, is third one, but personal injury and criminal is where we focus a lot. 1, because they have big marketing budgets. 2, they appreciate search engine optimization. They know it can work, and they see competitors that it works for. And then the clients that we have in our roster, they're seeing great return on it as well. Interesting fact to talk about, any SEO agency can say, oh, let's jump into lawyer SEO. Like, we can rank law firms. Bit of time you can, but there's certain nuances you need to figure out. 1, working with attorneys, they're highly picky about the content you're creating. So especially writing specific content on their practice areas that they're practicing. If it's car accident page, and then certain aspects of the law, what the settlement amounts are in Florida versus New York. You can't mix up that information. That can reflect really badly on them, because there's also bar regulations that regulate their operation. At the end of the day, they are representing people, and they're held at higher standard than just an average, maybe plumber SEO agency, because attorneys are representing someone's lives. Now, what I also want to mention on this is, over the years, we've been able to kind of dig into this deeper. Thinking about SEO, you're building topical authority on someone's website. Your website becomes like a content bank. So for law firms, the same thing happens within their respective practice areas. It's hard to rank a website for personal injury and criminal unless someone's in a smaller city. So we pick one city and we're saying, all right, you're going to rank for personal injury lawyer Los Angeles, highly competitive term. So, and then you build out all these information blocks within a website. So if it's a personal injury, you have car accident page, you have slip and fall page, motorcycle accident, truck accident. Now, let's say you have a page about truck accident lawyer, Los Angeles. Then you need to write supporting content to rank that one page, right? You're not going to have a 10,000 word page. So some interesting things we've been doing, we're writing supporting content like Amazon truck accident lawyer, FedEx truck accident lawyer, because they get in accidents as well. So someone might say, oh, FedEx just rear-ended me. What should I do? Or I'm in an accident. So that's how you start building out these content banks, and they need to be very specific. So if I'm a personal injury attorney in Los Angeles, it's need to be specific to California laws. It's need to be specific to my practice area. And that's when we build out this content really in depth. We have a whole like a silo structure, because for car accident page alone, we have to write like 15 sporting articles. And now some interesting things that are happening. We're trying to speed up some of this process with ChatGPT. Not saying we're launching the entire sporting content with ChatGPT, but we are filling in some of those gaps because we sort of already know what we need to write. So we have the formula. We know, hey, you come on as attorney Plank comes on as an attorney. He's in Los Angeles, and you have no content, or you have a little bit content, and we need to build it out. We can blow it out pretty fast right now, like launch 50 to 60, 70 pages a month. Obviously, biggest approach for us is we generate some of the content, but then there's a human editing aspect to it, where it's fully factually correct. It makes sense. It just gives us a little bit leg up. And when there's like a lot of ground to cover, this can be really helpful, and we can enter the market faster, just from content perspective.
That is cool, and I like your strategy. So you're saying that you create this content bank, you look at what people are searching for, what their problems are, these kinds of questions you ask again and again, but then also create the supporting content. So there's like car accident page, but instead of having a big long page where someone might be on their phone and they have to go and find all that, you say, well, if they're searching for something specific, Amazon truck accident, FedEx truck accident. So that way you have this supporting content. And so just the thing they were searching is right there on the page. And you're saying that you use ChatGPT as sort of not the magic box that like generates this, because like there was this thing in the news a couple of weeks ago where like a lawyer got in trouble for that. Like the judge was like, they cited these 3 cases and they don't exist. But then what you hear a lot about with ChatGPT these days is when you use it as sort of your writing assistant, when you say, here's this content, digest it, make it more about this, and then you see the output and then kind of like revise it. And so you're working with the AI. That's less scary, and that seems like more of a sort of productivity booster. And so what that leads to is, so say someone is doing one of these sorts of searches, right? They search for like FedEx truck accident. And what's your thought process as far as like what you want them to do? Like they go and they search for FedEx truck accident, they go on the page. Do you always like to have like a phone number or a form or a call to action or all the above? Or like, what does that content lead to?
Yeah. Well, before I answer your question, FedEx truck accident lawyers searches are probably extremely low, but those cases are worth a lot. Probably more common direct response keyword would be car accident lawyer. So, or truck accident lawyer, pretty common. And those are very high value cases, because if truck gets an accident, it's going to get pretty messy. The standard stuff. So we want 3 elements. Phone number on top right corner. If it's for desktop, if it's on a mobile, you want to have a sticky phone number, basically sticky menu where the phone number is always there because people can just click and call. Then a form and or live chat, depending what is the intake system process, because live chats can be really good too. People just want to start a quick conversation like, oh, do I have a case? Oh, my back hurts. Kind of get quick details, because people like average person doesn't deal with attorneys on a daily basis. So they just naturally have a lot of questions. How does it work? What do you do? What do you need from me? And that's how the intake process starts. And of course the forums, sorry, no, I mentioned forums or live chat. And the third aspect, testimonials. That is the name of the game for conversions. Social proof of your service. People saying, hey, Attorney Plank helped me with my car accident case. I got $200,000 settlement. Those type of things that fully affirm your service capabilities. And then you can either rotate them, list them. I've seen attorneys actually do like a really nice photography where it looks like someone's holding a check, like a really big check. Obviously, it's not a real check, but it's edited really nicely that it looks like it was a huge check and they received it. And I'm seeing those on billboards too. Have to be a little bit careful with the bar regulations, what you can or cannot say. But the social proof is huge. And those would be the main aspects I would put on one of these landing pages. Make sure they load decently, and then you actually track these incoming calls and forms. Use some standard tracking mechanisms. We actually built one ourselves called TrackRight. You can give that a test drive. It's pretty easy to set it up, but you just need to track your marketing. Obviously, that's pretty common thing.
Yeah, it sounds like common sense enough as you speak it out now, but then it's also common to not do it, right? It's way too easy to just set up that front piece and say, I've got the content figured out, the fast website, it's all linked together. I'm checking my rankings, I'm running the ads, but then dropping the ball as far as the funneling. And you're making me think about, like, we've all had have all those moments in our lives when we have to contact this or that attorney, right? For family attorney, trademark attorney, like whatever it is, like especially business owners, right? Sometimes we need to find some specific attorney for something. And the process I end up going through, and it's probably like once every, 5 or 6 years for whatever the type of attorney is, I end up like finding like 4 attorneys in my area. And then I end up, I kind of discount like 1 or 2, like just something's not quite right on the website. For whatever reason, they don't make the cut, right? Like maybe 2 of them look mobile friendly and the other 2 don't. I think, maybe this is from like 10 years ago. And then what has ended up happening is I send an email or I do a phone call, and then one gets back to me like a day or 2 later, and the one never gets back, or like weeks later. And it's just from a buyer's perspective, and it happens with attorneys, happens with contractors. It's this whole idea of like, you think in a perfect world, if I fill in a form for like an attorney, especially, wouldn't I want to? I'd be impressed beyond anything if I got a call back in like 5 minutes or like within the hour. And so, I mean, what's your philosophy on this as far as like with the software you built and with you like having this kind of funnel dialed in? What are the best practices and what are people missing as far as the follow-up?
I have to be honest with you. This is one of the biggest hurdles we deal with as well. When working with our clients, there's this idea that, hey, as long as I get the leads, I'm going to get the sales. But really, from lead to sale step is still there, and we rely on the attorney to execute that on their team. Some attorneys have intake teams. Some attorneys take these calls themselves. So imagine you're in a trial and you just got 3 leads and you get out of the trial and you're tired. And you're like, now I need to call these people. It doesn't work. There's cases where phone calls not even being picked up. So my take on this is, you just described it yourself. The attorney that's going to win the business is the one that's going to get in touch the fastest. They're going to have the smoothest intake process, and they will have follow-ups because people don't always convert right away. Obviously, it depends on the practice area, but the fundamentals are the same. You introduce yourself, you understand their problem, you explain your service, how you can help them. And that's actually selling part, right? So it comes down to size of a law firm. A lot of law firms that generate a lot of leads, they have what they call intake teams. So these intake teams that are held responsible to convert the leads into the actual cases and push them through their process after. But that response to the lead is everything. I tell my sales team too. I mean, once we get an inbound lead, it's a matter of a minute, and we're calling them. It's crucial because, like you said, you're shopping around. You're not just contacting one attorney. You just contacted 5. So whoever gives the best first impression is the fastest and has the smoothest onboarding process is the one who's going to win.
I love it. And like I said at the beginning, this is why it's so much fun to jump into these different industries where, like, I personally am not familiar, but then you get a benefit from talking about it too, because now you're ranking for the SEO being on this podcast, but then there's a lot of these kinds of like best practices type insights into these businesses where you say, well, in these super competitive, say, personal injury attorney niches, if this is what's done, then maybe I can apply this in my own industry. And it's like, if you don't want to do that, if you don't want to follow up super fast or follow up at all, maybe that's why the business is struggling, or maybe that's why the business is not growing as much as it can, because those other businesses are out there somewhere where they're getting back to people really quickly. And so you kind of, it seems like you've had a lot of fun. You've dived into all these different areas and solved a lot of problems, worked with a lot of these law firms. And so in your many years here of getting these law firms' digital marketing figured out, is there anything that's like surprised you? Anything that's been unexpected in your journey?
Unexpected. This question was unexpected. Unexpected. I must say, I think this last 2 years have been more unexpected journey-wise. And big reason is the shift that's happening in local SEO. There's 2 things happening. One, Google is expanding their offered ad services. So perhaps you have seen there's text ads, and then sometimes you have like these little card ads. They're called local service ads. So Google rolled that out about 2 years ago, and they're still there. And I'm sure you've heard the conversations around the search generative experience and how Google's going to change all their search engine result pages. Like, it's going to look completely different with AI being integrated in it. So what Google's trying to do is Google's trying to take away control from the advertisers. And LSA ads was one of the like really big attempts to do that. Because with the LSA ads, I mean, honestly, it's really interesting because it's easy to run for anyone. Like average business owner, or I didn't want to use the word average. No one's average, but just business owner themselves can go in, set up the campaign and say, hey, I'm willing to pay $500 per lead and my budget's $10,000, and just max it out. And that's all you need to do. Only other aspects you need to do is upload your picture and have Google Business Profile reviews on your Google Business Profile. And Google syncs that information. They see that you're willing to spend money. They see that you were approved in the program, because there's like steps you need to follow to get approved, because they launch only actually accredited businesses, because they don't want affiliates to be on it, or some guys in an apartment just trying to scam others. It's
playing middleman or something. Yeah.
Yes. So only legitimate approved businesses can be there. This program is not available for all businesses. I want to just give you a quick rundown of the ones that are: law firms, home services, and in some cases, I want to say it was also some realtors, but it's kind of mixed, right? But for law firms, it's huge. And if someone's doing PPC, that's a big part of their budget. But here's the part: you can't really control it. Like, Google's controlling the algorithm, who's going to be shown. And no one really knows how to influence it. Only real ways how you can influence it is your radius and your Google reviews on your Google Business Profile. So that was a big kind of surprise that happened. So we had to focus on it. But again, you can't really control it as much. And then the other aspect is that right after that, you have the map results. So our work is invested a lot in these map results. And the map results are controlled similar as these LSA ads, because they're based on your reviews. So the more reviews you have, the better map results you will have. And map results are based on the proximity. So closer I am to a business, just like you think about like pizza shop near me, Google's going to serve you closest pizza shops. If you're searching for personal injury attorney, they're assuming that you're still going to go in and see and meet the attorney because there's going to be paperwork and other things happening. So Google's still serving the closest ones around you. So big shift is happening right now to just local presence to these walk-in businesses. We need to generate reviews for them. We need to have really good pictures. We need to create activity around these profiles because not only the profile will rank better, and that's where 40% of the organic traffic, the SEO traffic is going. And then the part right under that used to be so valuable is becoming decreasing, like the value of it's decreasing, like especially for direct response keywords like car accident, lawyer, Miami. Of course, there's long tail keywords like, oh, my back hurts after accident. Great, go all out on those. And that's what we're doing, building heavy blog banks just to drive those type of traffic keywords. But the main ones that we know we can get the highest return right away, the game's changing, and it's not anymore just a website on organic rankings. It's really more about the Google map results and the ad portion, because Google has to make money. And yeah, that's been the biggest kind of shift and surprise for me personally. Granted, I enjoy it. I love it. I love the dynamic of the search marketing. But to your question, that's something that I've been I have not expected.
And with Google, especially in these search engines, the only constant is change, right? Like
yes.
you can always expect them to pull the rug out from under you or create some new program, and that just kind of drives the home point for me very well of why a law firm needs a team like yours to just stay up to date on things. And if there's just the business owner trying to figure out themselves, they've got better things to do, right? And if you have your one web guy keeping up with all this local SEO stuff and organic ranking and paid SEO, I mean, it just seems overwhelming versus someone like you, who I can tell like you're up to date about it, you're passionate about it, you don't ignore the fundamentals, and it's just, and you're specialized. So if a law firm in one of these 5 categories needs your help, it makes a lot of logical sense to at least have that conversation, and for them to get in your funnel, because you're all about these funnels, right? And funneling prospects so that way they go and like contact that attorney, and then when they have a good experience, you funnel them into those reviews, so that way the maps and the local SEO and all that makes a lot, gets the ranking that it deserves. Yep. And so if someone says, okay, a lot of this makes sense, I'm ready to take the next step, I want to have that conversation, I want to contact Chris, his company, his team, how does a law firm know if they're a right fit for you, and what's that next step? How do they get in touch?
Yeah, so it's a 3-step process. We always start with discovery. Like you mentioned, I'm passionate about it, my team is passionate about it. There's no strings attached. It's a completely complimentary consultation. We jump on a call and we analyze the website. We talk about their goals. What is their current revenue? What percentage of their revenue they're willing to put into marketing? It's very, as a business operators, that's a crucial question. Once we understand that, we can assess whether we can help them rank for certain keywords. Because, if your budget is, I don't know, revenue is $500,000 a year, and you're a solo attorney in Houston, but you want to rank for a Houston personal injury attorney, we're going to say, unfortunately, there's not much we can do to rank you for that top keyword, because your budget should be half of your year's revenue. Like, it's highly competitive. But same time, if you want to just focus on Google Maps and your proximity around your office, there are things we can do. So it's important that we need to align these expectations and goals together with the law firm owner or their marketer. So once that discovery call is handled, then we go into second call, which is strategy call. In this strategy call, we show market research, their competitors, total addressable market, and then we showcase where they stand within that market, ranking wise, domain authority wise, content gap wise, because we need to understand how. Remember, we were talking about building out the content structures. That's a big part of it, because that takes production. SEO is a lot about production. So then we understand where you are against your top competitor, and then we give you cost analysis based on how much it would cost you to fill in those gaps with us. I mean, these strategy calls are amazing. I sometimes record them, then I listen to them. I'm like, wow, that was like complete SEO geek out. And we try to educate in the process the attorney or marketer, whoever is coming on these calls. This way they understand what do we really need to do to rank and how long it's going to take and what really that investment is going to come down to. So, and then if all things are aligned, we address Q&A, we dig into certain aspects of the website, of the competitors, who doesn't want to learn more about their competitors. And then step 3 is launching the campaign. We have really amazing customer success team, really amazing SEO team, link building team. Like, we take this thing really seriously, and we have departments dedicated for each aspect of SEO, including content. So then they all come together and build out the campaign. And the campaign launch is getting onboarded in our systems, building out the strategy, getting access to the website. Our customer success managers become really almost part of your team. We like to explain it as we're becoming your personal marketer. Like, you don't have to hire a marketer that's then going to go out and hire 3 other vendors. Just hire us, and we'll be that marketer. And our team is going to be so involved with you that you're going to feel like they're part of your team. And hey, now everyone's working remote, so you might as well have a dedicated customer success manager that you can feel like they're your marketer, because we also have really in-depth reporting system called TrackRight. We built it ourselves. Now it's available as a SaaS tool. Other agencies use it. And with this tool, you can see all your leads, you can see all your rankings, your traffic. Like, we have nothing to hide. We in this with the attorneys. We want to show them how SEO works, how PPC works. And then we go to battle together. And I say battle because really is a battle. Like, everyone wants to have those top spots because they're so valuable. When the clicks cost $200-$300, it's you're printing money basically if you're in those top spots. So that's everyone wants to protect those spots, and whoever can outwork each other are the ones that's going to win.
And I think thinking of it as a battle makes it exciting, right? Because you say, I'll do my best and bring my A game and defend my territory. And if you don't think of it as a battle, then it's too easy to get your feelings hurt, or it's too easy to get down on yourself for what you haven't done. And it's like, if you're not getting the results yet, maybe because you haven't gone to battle yet, or you haven't gone in with a big enough guns or enough ammo.
Yes.
And sort of those 3 steps you mentioned, I don't know where I've heard it, but I heard at one point like GSA, right? There's goals, there's strategies, and there's action. And that's really cool of kind of your process there, especially like you said, like looking at what the competitors are doing or looking what the trends are, because I imagine that many business owners are maybe too afraid to look at what their competitors are doing because there's some emotion attached there. And even if they do look at those competitors, they might not know what they're looking at, right? Someone like you might say, well, that's that thing about having the sticky phone at the top, the phone number on every page, like they might not even notice that. And you say, that's such an important thing and you're missing out on that right now because your competitors are doing that. So I can definitely see how someone can and should take that step and get it to that very first goals call. And so how does someone do that? How does someone find out about you and your team and start that conversation?
Very simple. You can visit onthemap.com, just fill out the form. Form actually will give you an automated Calendly link that you can schedule a call right away with one of our strategists. You can reach out to me directly too. I'm pretty active on LinkedIn, Chris Brencans or Kristaps Brencans, or just shoot me an email, chris@onthemap.com. I'll be happy to chat about this stuff. No strings attached. As you mentioned, I'm pretty passionate about the topic, and I love educating people on search engine optimization. And I'm just a infinite learner. I want to continue learning this stuff, and I want to keep getting better. And the only way we can do it is together with our clients. We're in this battle together.
Well, fantastic. So the very next step is to email Chris at onthemap.com and also go to onthemap.com. And so as we're wrapping up our conversation here, Chris, it's time to put you on the spot one last time, a little scary, but it's okay. I'd like to ask people about, what advice do you wish you'd gotten 20 years ago? If your present self now could go back 20 years in time and tell your younger self something, does anything come to mind about that advice you wish you'd received 20 years ago?
So the advice I would give myself, I would be 13 years ago. I would be 13 years old, and I probably wouldn't even know what my older self is talking about, but I would say, learn SEO faster. SEO is such a time play. I got into this industry 14 years ago, and that was strictly through web development, app development. We had a web development company, and I didn't learn SEO at that time. I was just very focused on the information systems design, UX, branded app experiences. And the SEO never really came up as a skill, a topic I should learn. I wish I would have done it back then, because SEO is kind of like investing, how long you've been holding certain stocks, how long you've been building your investment portfolio. And that this skill just compounds over years, because you can build out more websites. And each year I just feel like we're getting smarter as a collective, and myself as an individual. I just learn certain aspects of search engine optimization that I can execute.
Exciting. And you can see some actual results, right? You implement the SEO better, get more traffic, get more leads, get more sales, help other people. So it's not just playing around with the UX and moving a button from here to there. It's you're actually like making a real difference in these businesses and these people's lives. And so very excellent, very helpful, very valuable. Go right now to onthemap.com to see what Chris and his team can do for you. Thank you very much, Chris, for giving us all these amazing insights. You got the gears turning with me, and I really appreciate it.
Well, thank you so much, Robert. It was a blast. I really enjoyed our conversation.